Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is RJ. So today we are introducing home mining part 1. We're going to be checking out how you can mine from home, the hardware available, how much they cost, how much you can make, the mining pools you should use, and even the software to download. So keep watching. Okay, and welcome to another video. And remember, if this is your first time visiting my channel and you want to learn more about how to earn cryptocurrency for free, about cloud mining sites, crypto investments, and lots of other crypto related stuff, hit that subscribe button and don't forget to tag that notification bell so you're alerted to all my latest content as it comes online. Okay, so in the introduction, I was talking about home mining. Now, when we think of mining, normally we think of this picture. So this is obviously some guy working at a warehouse and they just have a massive mining farm. Now, this is not obviously what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that you now suddenly need to go out and rent a warehouse and purchase all this stuff. No, I'm simply talking about this small little miners that are available on the market, relatively cheap, that we can use to mine coins. Now, the coins obviously I'm talking about are not going to be things like Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything like that. We're going to be looking at using the script algorithm. So on the most well-known coin that's on script algorithm is going to be Litecoin. Then obviously a lot of people know, due to the price jump recently, is Dogecoin. So both of those are relatively well-known coins that are on script, but we're going to be looking at other coins that are currently at relatively low prices, even some at prices that are actually higher than Doge, and how you can mine these quite easily at home for relatively low cost. Okay, so this is the Moonlander 2 USB miner. Now, this comes in brand new. You're talking, obviously, all of this software we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking to purchase it secondhand from places like eBay and other online markets. Okay, so the Moonlander 2, brand new, you're looking at over $100. But on eBay, or in the UK eBay, you're looking at around about 80 odd, well, maybe between 60 to 80 pounds, depending on what they're going for at the time. These miners will mine at about 5 mega hashes, which is really good for script mining. They're really low power consumption. It's going to cost you about 10 watts. One of these is only going to cost you about 10 watts. So you're going to be looking at about £10 or $10 for an entire year, around about that, for an entire year of mining. But obviously, running at 5 mega hashes, you should definitely earn a lot more than that over that period. Now, the next one is going to be the TT-bit. Now, this is pretty much the same as the Moonlander 2 we were just looking at. Runs at around about the same hashing power, so around about 5 mega hashes, maybe slightly less. Around about the same power consumption, but these are a lot less on the online marketplaces. They cost a lot less, especially if you're getting one secondhand. You could be looking at anything around about 40 to 50 pounds for one of these. Obviously, slightly higher number in dollars, but these are all, like I say, I mean, you could basically just plug this straight into your laptop, hook up the software, go to a mining pool, get you the details required, and get this up and running, both the Moonlander 2 and this, in a very short period of time. Now, the other one is Gore Miners the Fury. Now, this is a great little miner. This is actually the first miner I ever purchased. I bought this for £30, including posted from eBay. Admittedly, it didn't come with a power supply, so I had to get that. And also, it didn't come with any information. So basically, I spent about a week just looking around on Google and all that kind of stuff, trying to get the right software and information on how to get this set up. But it is a great little miner. And just as a side note, if anybody out there has any of these rattling around in a cardboard box thrown at the back of your attic or anything like that, drop me a message on my Facebook page, as I would be very interested, because I tried to get hold of one of these recently and there just doesn't seem to be any around. So like I say, if you do have one of these, or a couple of these in fact, because I would just really like to make a video using these miners. Okay, so the final ones we're going to be looking at are the Grid Seed. This is the Grid Seed Orb. Now, these are, again, a great little miner. Don't use a whole lot of power. Just as a bit of, sorry, we missed out the information. So the Gore Miner Fury, that will come in at, it will mine at about 1.4 mega hashes. So obviously a lot lower than the Moonlander. And it actually runs higher wattage. These run about 48 wattage with the power supply. So basically the draw off the wall or through your socket is going to be about 48 watts, and it's only going to be giving you 1.4 mega hashes. But I do think they are a great little miner. But yeah, so that's just a bit of background on that, just so you know. But the Grid Seed Orb, so again, it's brilliant little miner. These are the most efficient miners out of the ones that I'm showing you. So they only run at about 8 watts, but the hashing rate is very low. So these will only give you at about 360 kilohashes. Now that is if you've got these set at normally what most people set these at, which is 850 megahertz. That is sort of the setting that a lot of people use. But you can take these as high as 900 or 1000 megahertz. The only problem with that is you then start running into things like hardware errors, rejected shares, all these kind of things. And that is the problem with any miner. I mean, that is even the big miners. When you start overclocking them and pushing them sort of to those limits, you will start getting errors. Your mining won't become as efficient. But it's this trade-off, is if you're getting more, if you're earning more shares compared to how many errors you're getting, then that is the balance that you're looking for, because every share essentially is coins. So that is something that you have to sort of get that balance with. Okay, so currently my setup is, so I have 3 grid seeds. I do actually have 5, which is rather frustrating. But when I moved house, which was like nearly 2 years ago, packed all my miners up, and now I can't find the other 2. I've been looking now for about a month because I've been wanting to do this video, and I cannot find them anywhere. The house I'm in does not even have an accessible attic, so I know they're not in there. I've looked at every single box, under the beds, cupboards. I have no idea where they are. Anyway, this is the setup I have at the moment, and we are running this through a very nice little HP notebook. Now, this is a really, really tiny little notebook. It doesn't have a ROM drive. It has no Ethernet connection on it, so it's all using wireless. Also, as well, that drops the efficiency of the mining. So basically, if I could hook this up to a Ethernet cable, my mining would be a lot more efficient, and I would probably get a lot more shares, basically just because obviously the connection is more stable and usually a bit faster. So with the short time I've had this set up, this is sort of what we're looking at in the way of earnings. So I've only really been running this consistently over the last maybe 3 or 4 days, basically because I've been testing different mining softwares. I've been testing different cables, many things I've been testing. But over the last few days, I've been running this consistently. So I'm mining a coin called Einstein, but Einstein is a little known coin, but it is on the script algorithm, but it's also worth over 30 cents per coin. Now, in the few days that I have been mining this consistently, you can see that I've built up nearly 12 million derivatives of EMC2, and that is how many shares that we have that are known as what is basically immature, so they've not been confirmed yet. The confirmed shares that we have are over 2 million, and we have currently been paid 8,503,580 EMC2. That where it shows the balance, that will creep up over the time, and then sometime in the early hours in the morning I get a payout. So the last payout we had was 585,859. I mean, if you look on the screen now, that is a shot of my mobile wallet. You can see there's multiple payments. If you're wondering what the breaks are in the days, because you'll see one that I got yesterday, one that was a couple of days ago, one that was about 5 days ago. That's where I've been testing stuff. So that's where I've been changing cables. I've been testing different softwares, all that kind of stuff. Also, as well, I have tried mining on different websites just to see and compare how much I was earning for the same setup. Now, if we look here, you can see that basically this is showing my pending payouts here. So that, as you can see, that is just going up and up and up and up and up. And then what this shows is my balance. Then where the drop is where I've had a payout, and then basically the balance building back up to the next payout. And this one is basically the hashing rate. Now you can see that we've had a bit of a drop off here at the moment, but normally we're up at about 1.2 to 1.3 mega hashes coming out of those 3 miners. You can see these are the coins that I'm mining. So basically, obviously, we're getting EMC2, but what we're actually using on Blockmasters is the ability, using Blockmasters gives us the ability to mine multiple different coins at the same time, and then basically all of those coins that we earn get exchanged into the coin that we actually want. So basically, when you're setting up your software and you're setting up your what's known as a stratum, which is basically your little bit of a code that tells the miner where to go for the shares, and then when you get there, it tells the pool, which is Blockmasters, what you want to mine. So basically, what you do to stipulate what coin you want is you simply put your wallet address in there. So if you want to mine Doge, you put a Doge address in there. If you want to mine the same coin I'm mining, then you put an EMC2 address in there. You can mine Litecoin, but obviously if you're going to mine Litecoin, what you've got to realize is using these little miners, because Litecoin is so popular, the difficulty is very high. That means it's going to take you a very, very long time to mine Litecoin or a substantial amount of Litecoin. But with these lower coins, so I should give a big shout out actually to the Hive. As you guys know, I've worked with him and discussed things with him on a few occasions. I have mentioned him a few times in my videos. Well, over the past few weeks, we've been sort of not necessarily collabing, but trading information, pools that we found, settings we've used, even showed each other what we're earning and stuff like that on different settings over the past few weeks to try and help each other get the best setup, find the best pools and stuff like that. So anyway, he has been mining Flow or Florin, which is another script coin. It's worth around about the same amount as Doge, about 5 to 6 cents. You've also got Digibyte. Digibyte is worth now 7 cents. That is another coin that can be found on the script. You can mine any one of these coins. There we go. Look, we've just 50 seconds ago. There it goes. Shows there. We've just found, just got some more shares. We've got a troll share there. And this is obviously running now. This is we're seeing this in real time. My rig actually mining. But there's so many coins out there that you can mine. And what I do suggest is before you pick the coin that you mine, make sure that there are plenty of exchanges out there if you want to exchange it into something else. Because with these EMC2 coins, what I'll do is I'll build up a really good amount, just like I would with Doge, because who knows, EMC2 could become a massive coin. So I'll build up a really good amount, but I'll also then exchange a lot of those into another coin, something like into like Bitcoin or Litecoin or Monero, because I'm a big fan of Monero. Zcash, another great coin. All these that are like $100, $200 each. I can exchange my earnings of EMC2 into that, but I would still keep a good number just in case suddenly there was a massive rise in price. I'm ready to then benefit from that. Okay, so you've seen sort of what I'm doing and what I've been earning just over a few days. So the first thing you need to do is buy yourself some grid seeds. So like I say, eBay or online auction sites are generally the best places to find them. If we just duck onto eBay, here we go. So basically, I've done a quick search in the US. So this guy's selling some for $85. There's one for $75, $20. Obviously, these are all auctions. They're not buy it now. So it will depend on... Oh, there you go. So that is a buy it now. So you could get hold of that for $85. Personally, UK prices, obviously it's difficult for me to say in dollars, but I personally wouldn't pay any more than about 30 to 35 pounds, including shipping, including postage for one of these things. Now, obviously, because crypto is now, like back in December 17, has gone so massive, more and more people are getting into it. So it is bumping up the prices of even these small miners. But you just got to be sensible. I mean, you get some people, and I mean, I saw one in the UK the other day, and this person was selling one miner with no power supply, but with the USB cable, but no power supply, £165, which is absolutely ridiculous. Funnily enough, I went onto the UK eBay while I was doing a search. There's none of these on there at all. There's no grid seeds on there at all at the moment, but they do pop up regularly. But so I'm hoping that someone did not buy that one for £165, because that is just absolutely crazy. So obviously, once you've got yourself your grid seed, the next thing you need is a power supply. Normally when these are sold, they're not sold with power supplies, but they are normally sold with the USB cable. Make sure that you do at least get that USB cable, because it's not the modern USB cable, it's the old micro USBs, not the small ones that we use, and certainly not USB-Cs. It's the old USB micro USBs connection that you need for these grid seeds. So do make sure that the cable is supplied, because you might struggle to get hold of one of those, even though there are other things out there that still use them. Okay, so the next thing you need is a power supply. Now, these are pretty much exactly the same as the ones I use. So they're 12 volts, 5 amps. The Hive that obviously, I've been sort of conversing with over these things, he found some really, really good power supplies in Wilco's. That is an English store, sort of hardware store. But the power supplies he found actually had an adjustable voltage dial on them, and he found that he could actually turn the volume right down to about 5 or 6 volts, and the grid seeds would still function 100% correctly. So that is great. The power supplies from that store in the UK are about the same price as well. They're about £8 or £9. So obviously, if you are looking out for one, wherever you are, if you can find one with an adjustable voltage on it, get that, and then just turn it down to about 5 or 6 volts, maybe 6 volts to start with, and then if everything seems cool, drop it down to the 5 volts. Obviously, make sure you're turning it on, turning it off when you're adjusting it, and then you turn it back on. So that's it. So once that's all sorted, you've got your grid seed, you've got your power supply, and you've got your USB cable, then you are ready to get up and running. So the first thing we need is the software. Obviously, I'm working on the basis that you already have the miners, you have your power supplies, and that you have your USB cables. So what we do is we go into our downloads. Don't worry, the software I will put a link to in the description. So we're going to be using CPU miner. Now, a lot of people are going to say that this is a very basic miner, which is exactly the reason why I'm using it for you guys, because I know a lot of you probably will never have any experience of using this kind of thing before. And there are other miners which we probably will look at a later date with other hardware. But for this one, we're going to be using CPU miner. And there is actually a really good reason I personally use CPU miner, apart from the fact that it is dead simple. So this is a screenshot of CPU miner. And the reason why I actually like this, and I think it's great for little miners like the grid seeds, is, as we know, when you're mining, you're usually leaving your rig running 24/7. Now, the big problem is that you go to sleep or you go out to work, and then you come home and say one of your miners has stopped mining, it's frozen, or something like that has happened. Even multiple miners might have stopped. So what CPU miner does, it will, if you stipulate a delay, which I will show you how to do, it will actually restart your miners. So like I say, in the middle of the night, you're asleep, you have no idea what's going on, one of your miners freeze, or the software believes it's not running as it should do, it will simply restart it. Now, I did a test today, and what I did was I actually unplugged my miners from the wall socket. Basically, I switched them off from the wall socket, left it for a few seconds so it would totally interrupt their cycle, switched it back on, and then within, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes or so, they were all back up and running. Admittedly, obviously, what you're mining, that drops, so they sort of have to almost start building back up, but it still means that they are running, and that is why I like CPU miner. Some other miners say they do this or try to do this, but I have not really found another mining software that successfully does this. Whereas I like the CPU miner does successfully do this. And the other major difference that I found between CPU miner and the other mining software is that simply it just takes longer for CPU miner to get up to sort of, you know, speed, and for the miners to be earning the kind of coins or shares that the other software can do a lot faster. But once it gets up there, I mean, when I say it takes a lot longer, it might take, I don't know, maybe a few hours compared to, say, an hour with another piece of software. So, you know, you're not losing a whole lot, but for me, what you're gaining is in the event of something going wrong, like I say, with your miners, CPU miner will simply restart them, and then so you're not losing too much, and you're not coming home after 6 hours or 8 hours at work or 8 hours sleep to wake up and the whole thing is frozen. And you can also see normally when it froze. So the worst thing is you wake up and you see that an hour after you went to sleep, it stopped working. So for 7 hours, it's not been running. That is because you've been paying for that electricity for 7 hours and you've not earned anything. But like I say, CPU miner solves that by simply restarting your miners. Okay. So obviously you've got into your folder. These are the files that you're going to be presented with. And then what you want to do is normally they'll always put in a couple of examples. Now, these are basic examples. The auto tune one is interesting. That will actually, if you set that up, that will actually automatically, it does take a bit of time, but it'll automatically set your miners to the best frequency for them. Personally, I just use the bog standard setting, set my frequency to 850 and then just let it run. So this is basically, if you open this bat file, this is sort of what you'll be seeing. This is how I have it set up. The one that is an example is actually set slightly differently. So, but what I'll do is I'll copy and paste this into the description, this setup, and then you can literally just copy and paste this into a notepad file. Then what you'll do is, once you've got it set up, you would then save as, and then put that as all files, and then you'll just save it. Obviously you don't want to save it as the same name as your other one, so what we will just say, let's just call it, say, CPU and the coin we're mining, EMC201, and then we'll just save that, and then there you'll see here, there it is. And then what you would want to do is then send that, so you'd right click on it, send it to your desktop, and then when you want to run your miners, all you have to do is literally click on that. So we just send it to desktop, and then here it is, and then all you do is double click on that, and then that will start up everything running. But I'll just go a few through this with you so you understand what this does. So the frequency set there, 850, that is the speed you want your miners to run at. So I have it at 850. The reason why I have it at 850 is because I've tried 900. I've tried various different settings. And like I say, with those higher settings, especially when you start getting into the thousands, you just start getting hardware errors. You start getting rejected files, all this kind of stuff, which, like I say, you know, if you can find a sweet balance with that, so you're not getting too many hardware issues or hardware errors, you're not getting too many rejected files, but it is at a higher frequency, so essentially you should be mining more. That's great. Personally, I leave it at 850 because in maybe 48 hours or whatever, you might get maybe 5 or 10 hardware errors, whereas if you start putting it up to 900, you might come down, or higher, you might come down to your computer or your laptop, look, and you'll see there is hundreds of hardware error of errors that have accumulated, and probably a few rejected shares and all that kind of stuff. So I personally always leave it at 850. I just find for my setup that is the best setting. So the GC3355, that is simply the name of the miners. Everyone calls them grid seeds because that's the company, but that's the model. So that's basically telling the miners to detect those things. And the great thing is by using this GC3355 detect, it doesn't matter how many you plug into your computer, your laptop, whatever, doesn't matter how many you plug into it, it will just detect all of them, and there's no messing about. So that's why I always use that setting. And then the timeout, this is what I was talking about. So basically, if your miners or the software deems that your miners are not functioning correctly for 320 seconds, like what it will do is then just restart them. So you might see that a few times on your screen saying it's restarting it. It doesn't take long, so you're not losing a whole lot, but it does mean that eventually it will get them all to the point where they are working correctly and they will just, carry on mining. So the stratum is something I talked about earlier. So basically what that is basically the mining pool that you want to mine at. So EU stands for European, so that would be the setting for if you're in Europe or the UK. That is the setting, that is the website you would use. But if you are in the US, you just simply go to you go to get started on Blockmasters. And then if you scroll down, this will give you all the settings. So obviously you can solo mine, you can party mine, depending on, personally, if you don't have a whole lot of hashing power, it's just a waste of time. Don't bother with it. You're just going to be spending money on electricity and not earning really anything. But these are the different servers. So you got the US server, European server, Asian server, and then you also have this server, which you do need a really good amount of power for. So basically, I wouldn't bother with that. But I say that's what I use. But you guys in the US would use that. Those of you in the Asia area would use that server. And and that's it. So that's really simple. Why? And I mean, you can see here, Blockmasters do have their own miner. Again, I do think this is actually a adaptation of CPU miner anyway. But anyway, we're using the CPU miner that I'm showing you. And then the U stands for user. And what you do is you just put your wallet address in. So remember I said that basically with Blockmasters that you mine pretty much everything. What you'd be doing is mine everything on script. You'd be mining everything on script. But then it will exchange that into whatever coin you want. So it shows here the wallet address, obviously you don't have the brackets either, so get rid of the brackets and that and just put your wallet address in there. That is the coin address or the address for the coin you want to be earning. So remember that. And then your P, which is password, can be basically anything. But what me and the Hive have done, in fact the Hive came up with this, he has put a D setting in there. Now what that is a difficulty setting. So when you go onto the pool and you run your miners, the mining pool will automatically set you at a certain difficulty. Now if you are running not a whole lot of mining power, which we are not, you can actually set your difficulty to a static setting. Now what we found with that, or what I found with that, is it does mine a hell of a lot better. Excuse my language. It does mine a lot better. You tend to find shares faster, but I noticed that there is a slight, the share that you are mining is slightly less than the standard share. That is what I found. But it's not a whole lot different. But the fact that you're mining more shares, obviously it balances out. So I feel that that D setting is a really good addition, so yeah, so I would advise that if you, especially if you're using grid seeds, which obviously is what we're talking about now, put that D setting in there, and that will help you mine more. Now, finally, the reason why we put pause at the end, that is in the event of a total crash of your mining software. What it will do is when you finally see it, whether it's in the morning, at breakfast, or late in the evening, or whenever it's happened, that will actually keep that screen on, so you can read the error, so you can see what the problem is. If you don't have that pause, what'll happen is it will just shut itself down. So you'll come to your computer, your miners will be running, and it'll just show you your regular laptop screen, your desktop. Your miner will be gone, but you'll have no idea what actually happened. But by putting that pause in at the end, that will freeze your miner essentially at that point and keep it on your screen so you can see it and understand what the error was. Now that we've got everything sorted, so we've got our grid seeds, our power supplies, our USBs, we've got our software, and we've sorted out our bat file with our stratum in it. So now we are ready to rock and roll. So basically what you would do at this point is you would turn on your grid seeds, so you've got them running at the power, you've turned them on at the power supply, you've got them running. Then what you do is you'll plug your USBs in at your various ports. Now, something that I found that is a bit of a quirk is that you see I have a USB port on this side and two USB ports on that side. What I found is if I plugged these ones on the right first, then plugged in the one on the left, then the one on the left tended to drop out. It tended to fail. But doing it the other way around, so plugging it into the left first, then two into the right, works perfect. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but you might find that your system has that bit of a odd quirk. But I think it's just basically because they're on either side of the motherboard. If all your ports are on the same side or one side of your laptop, or in the same area as on the back of your PC, you should not have a problem. Just plug them all in. But so once you've plugged them all in, then what you'll do is then double click on your bat file, the file that we sent to our desktop, double click on that, and then that will start the CPU miner software actually running. And then once it's running, this is what you should get. So this is software. I'm just booting it up. See that one of the miner one has already clicked in, picked up a share. Then miner two has picked up another share there, and also top miner zero has picked up the final share there. Now that's obviously a perfect example of all the things clicking in pretty much simultaneously. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes you'll get, minus zero pick up one, then you might get a couple of lines of code, then you get the other miner kick in, and then a couple more lines of code, and then the final one will kick in. But however it happens, eventually all your miners will kick in. And like I say, the great thing with CPU miners is anything really happens to happen, happens to your miners, and the software feels that they're not running correctly, it will simply restart them and should do. So I'm going to leave that there. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it informative. If you could smash that like button, it really supports my channel, which then helps me bring more content to you. And I've got a load of great new hardware videos coming up soon. So take care and have a great rest of your week, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.